So, adult beginners, why do so many of them struggle with freestyle? I've worked with thousands of adult swimmers beginner at this point. And there is one thing that almost every single time that causes them to fail, or give up, or stay stuck. They try to learn everything all at once. Breathing, and the arms, and the kick, all in the same session, and sometimes even in their first lap, and the brain just goes, I just can't, because it's not built that way. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 5-week sequence that I use with complete beginners to take them from I can't put my face in the water to swimming all the way freestyle with confidence. And look, the week number 3 is the one that changes everything. And this is the part that tutorials usually skip over. And this is the part where beginners swimmers fall apart. Or rather, they could stop falling apart if actually someone would just show them this. Hi, my name is Alexandru Coci. I'm a former Olympic swimmer. I competed for my home country, Romania, in London 2012. And the last 10 years plus, I've coached swimmers from ages literally from 4 years old all the way to 70 years old, from complete beginner to Olympic level, and I've done it everything and I've seen everything. But honestly, something that I'm really proud of is actually working with adult beginners. Because here's the thing, and this took me a few years to actually realize and to understand. Adults learn the movement completely different than children. Because kids just splash in and try to figure it out through repetition. But the adults need to understand the why. They need some sort of logic behind it. But if they don't have the why, they usually panic. So, in the week 1, this is where almost every beginner course goes wrong. They start with arms or legs straight away. Big mistake. The arms don't matter yet, and not even a little bit. And what matters the most is what you have to sort out first, is the water itself. Getting comfortable, trusting it, and that's the foundation. By the end of this video, you'll have a proper 5-week roadmap, step by step, with no rushing, no skipping. Every week will build on its last. And I've structured it the way that I use with my premium members inside my Ocean Swim School community. Same progression, same checkpoints. And the big thing most people miss is that freestyle is not just one skill. It's multiple skills layered together very slowly in the right order. So skip that order and basically you're gonna swim uphill, literally. Get the order right and everything will click. And week 5, by the way, is where all it comes together, when it actually finally clicks. And I watched this happen with probably 400 to 500 swimmers by now. And this is actually one of the best things to witness. And once you're there, once freestyle actually feels comfortable, and that's where the fun stuff actually starts. Inside the full course, we're going into flip turns, into dives, into actually other skills that I'm not going to cover in this video. Things that are building real speed and real efficiency and all of that. But let me tell you something, none of that will work without a proper foundation first. And that's what we're going to cover today. One is water confidence. And I don't mean this in a soft and motivational way. I mean literally getting comfortable in the water. And this is the work. If you can't put your face in the water without panicking, the arms do not matter. The kick does not matter, and nothing else matters until this is sorted. So I had this woman who couldn't put her face in the water at all. It was triggering massive anxiety. She tried 2 other coaches and gave up twice before this. So she spent literally the entire week just on this. Walking in the shallow end, breathing exercises, submerging her face in the water 1 or 2 seconds, and then progressing from that. By the week 2, she was actually doing pushing glides. And week 5, she was actually swimming 25 meters continuous, literally just more than a month. So the point here is that foundation stuff is not boring. It's not just the warm-up before the real stuff. It is the real stuff. Now what are you going to do in the week 1? You're going to get comfortable in the water, entering and exiting the pool. Walking forwards, backwards and sideways. Washing your face with pool water sounds silly, but it works every single time. Breath holds starting from 1 second all the way up to 6 seconds. And the mental cue here for the whole week is that the water holds me up. And that's it. Stop fighting it, feel that it supports you. So the milestone before actually moving on is that you can submerge your face in the water for about 3 to 4 seconds comfortably. If you can, then stay here for another week, and that's fine. Week 2 is floating and streamline. Okay, so now I got excited for this one because this is where everything starts to click. We introduce the floating. Supported first, then unsupported. The starfish float, the 11 float, and then the streamline. The arms extended above your head, one hand on top of each other, head is tucked between your biceps, and so on. Long and tight. Now think of it like this. You're trying to make yourself into an arrow, not a person. An arrow. And the push and glide this week is the big one. Push off the wall, get into the streamline, and then just glide. So see how far you can go. Don't kick, don't pull, just glide. Most beginners, whenever they do this for the first time properly, they're actually surprised. Oh my God, the water actually carries me. Yes, it does, and that's the point. Now here is your self-check. If you're sinking immediately after you push and glide, that means your head is too high. You need to drop it. Look at the bottom of the pool. The water will hold you. The wrong position is that your head is way too high and your hips are sinking. And the right position is that you need to stay flat and to have a nice streamline and full glide all the way. And that's the big difference. The milestone here is actually to do 4 to 5 meters of glide. Comfortable on your front and maybe if you want on your back. It's not really necessary in the course. Alright, so week 2 is sorted and week 3 is where most beginners actually hit the wall. But only because no one explains them this properly. Week 3, kick and breathing. Now this is where I need to kind of slow down a bit. Am I actually making sense so far? Because this week is actually focusing on 2 main things and you work on them separately before you combine them. And that's the key. Kick first, flutter kick, you're holding the wall, put your face in the water and then start kicking. Kicking should come from the hips and not from the knees. Small and fast kicks. If your legs are exhausted in 15 seconds, then your kick is way too big. Make them smaller. A lot of people come to me with kicking like they're riding a bicycle or they're doing scissor legs. Deep bends at the knee and I have to break it to them. It's called a bicycle kick and creates a lot of drag instead of propulsion. It's like swimming with a parachute on. Now think of it like this. Have this mental cue in your head. You need to have floppy ankles. Let your feet be relaxed and floppy. The propulsion actually comes from ankle whip and not from the big leg movement. Now, the breathing. And this is where most beginners actually hit the wall. And in full honesty, this is the most important skill we have in the whole list. Maybe the most important skill in all of your swimming. And the sequence is face in the water, exhale through your nose underwater. Turn your head to breathe and make sure you don't lift it. You take one breath, face go back in and exhale again. And then you continue like that with the whole pattern. And the big mistake that everyone makes is that they're lifting their head. And I see this constantly. Head comes straight out of the water, chin is pointing at the ceiling, and when this thing happens, the hips drop, legs drop, and everything falls apart. And this, the turn itself, the rotation itself is actually really tiny. It should be anywhere between 30 to 45 degrees. One eye stays in the water. If both eyes are out of the water, that means you've turned it way too far. And the drill to do for breathing, stand in the waist deep water, practice the head rotation, and don't even swim. Just breathe, turn back, exhale, and then make sure that you feel that motion. Then add kick to it when you're at the wall. And the milestone here is that you need to have continuous kick with rhythmic breathing and 10 to 15 seconds without stopping. Now, the week 3 is done, and this is where everything gets more exciting. The week 4 is the arms. Whoo! Finally, right? Week 4, freestyle arm action, right? Now finally is where we get to the arms. And look, I know that this feels late in your head because you want to get to the real streaming really quick, right? But here is how it works. Now you also can kick and then you have the breathing. The arms, you just put it in. Without the foundation, the arms just cause chaos. The arm cycle has 4 phases. The entry, the catch, the pull, and the recovery. The entry. the hand enters in the water fingertips first at roughly 11 and 1 o'clock, not straight ahead or crossover at 12 o'clock. The arms then extends forward underwater before you do the pull, and then we start the catch. And this bit is even intermediate swimmers get it wrong. You're pressing your forearm and the hand against the water. Elbow stays high, literally like you're grabbing a beach ball. The high elbow catch. If your elbows drop first, that means you've lost the catch. You're basically pushing the water down and not back. Now let's talk about the pull. So as you finish the catch, make sure that you press through, brushing past all the way to your hip. And then the recovery, elbows leads out of the water, relaxed, swing your arm around and enter the water again. And one of the good drills that you can do is catch up drill. So one arm stays extended in front while the other one does a full cycle stroke. This forces you to extend properly and slows down the coordination down enough so you can actually feel each phase. And this is important to add a basic kick underneath. So you can do 6-beat kick, but don't do more than that, or the 4-beat is actually fine. Don't stress about it yet. The milestone here is about to do 15 to 20 meters with arms and kick actually working together. And here it won't feel smooth just yet, but that's completely normal. You're actually coordinating 4 things at once. Week 4, your arms in, now you're nearly there, and the week 5 is the one that actually makes everything clicks. Week 5, timing, rhythm, and the full freestyle stroke. And this week is where everything comes together. Or more accurately, this is the week where it actually starts to come together. But sometimes it doesn't just click in 5 weeks. Sometimes it takes 6 or 7 or more than that, and that's completely fine. The 5 weeks is assuming that everything lands perfectly and you're doing everything correctly. So for your progression, it might take more than 5 weeks. And here is what you're actually working on. So you work on the body rotation, the breathing rhythm, and the whole thing just flowing. The body rotation is actually huge here, and almost no beginner tutorials actually covers it. Every single stroke should involve a rotation through your hips and your torso. You're not flat in the water, you're rotating from side to side, about 30 to 45 degrees each way. And this is exactly what gives elite swimmers that long and powerful look. The breathing slots into that rotation. When the right arm recovers, for example, your body rotates to the right. And that's exactly whenever you breathe. You're not fighting to get air just yet. Your rotation brings your mouth out of the water almost automatically. So I had this guy in London, self-taught his whole life. He came to me frustrated because he has been swimming freestyle for 2 years while he was exhausted after one length. And turns out he had no body rotation, flat literally as a board. And what did we do? We added rotation, of course, in one session. He couldn't believe how much easier he actually felt. Now the drill that you can work on is side kick drill. So kick on your side for the half a length and then you switch. Get comfortable to actually feel how you're rotated in that position. And this will teach your body how that rotation should feel like. Now by the end of week 5 or whenever it actually clicks, target 25 to 50 meters continuous freestyle, breathing every 2 to 3 strokes, feeling reasonably under control. Now here's the thing, 25 meters might sound small, but 8 weeks ago, face in the water was terrifying. And that's the proper transformation. And when I say 25 meters or 50 meters, it means that you swim with the correct technique, not just traveling from A to B in a survival mode. So if you follow the 5-week sequence and actually do it, not just watching the video and think maybe you're going to do it, here is what actually is going to change. You go from someone who struggled in the water to someone who can actually swim by now. Not perfect freestyle, definitely not Olympic freestyle, but the real functional and confident swimming. And that confidence piece is actually massive, honestly, because this is not just about the sport, it's actually feeling athletic in the water, basically knowing what you're actually doing, not being a person who avoids the pool. And this foundation, once it's solid, everything else becomes learnable. Open water swimming, triathlon, faster technique, building endurance on top of that 25 to 50 meters, and so on. All that builds exactly from what we just covered. And if you're actually going to practice along with this, starting from today, even the breathing drill or body rotation, you're already ahead most of the swimmers who actually watch tutorial videos and do nothing. And you maybe did something, and that's what it matters. Now picture yourself in the pool next time. You go from week 1 to week 2 sorted, and you're not guessing anymore. You know exactly what to focus on, and that's a completely different experience. And look, if you want the full course version of this with actual video demos on every single drill, my feedback on your technique, all of it, you can find it right now in Ocean Swim School, link below. Drop a comment if you're actually starting this 5-week plan this week. And let me know which week are you actually working right now. And if this video helped you, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and so on, so you don't miss any of this. If you haven't watched the other freestyle tutorials, please watch them next. See you in the pool.